What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the first edition of the SIN NFL recap show. Eventually, we will come up with a shorter name for that. Mike and the old ops guy with you. Old ops guy, week 2 of the NFL season has come and gone.
Very quickly too.
Uh, so, we're going to dive in on all of the major storylines that occurred in week 2 and give thoughts and stuff. And then we'll talk about it probably again on Sunday for Sunday sideline report. Who knows? But the biggest storyline out of week 2 comes from Cincinnati, where the Reds still sit 3 games out of that second wild card spot. But no, Joe Burrow out at least 3 months. He's going to undergo surgery for a toe injury, which apparently he tore some ligaments in the Bengals win over the Jaguars. And Joe Burrow, I'm going to raise my hand and say these words. I apologize, Joe Burrow. You're thinking, why am I apologizing? Because I have put a very stupid curse on Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I made him my fantasy quarterback for the second straight year, and I picked him to win NFL MVP. So, Joe Burrow, I apologize.
It's a big loss for the Bengals,
Oh, yeah.
after last year's you know, loss of Burrow. Everybody loved how he recovered. He looked strong in preseason. He seemed to be on task with Jamar Chase, and the first week didn't really show us that. They were kind of clicking in the second game. They were moving, and then this guy here, Mike, texted me, Burrow down. I said, huh? He said he's walking out. I said, oh no. And then, of course, right then and there, Fox 5 switches to it, and there it is. I'm like, you're kidding. As Mike, I have Joe Burrow on 2 leagues, one of them being Dynasty.
I think the thing that sucks the most is we always lump these 4 teams together in the AFC. We lump Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chiefs, and the Bengals because those are the 4 best quarterbacks in all of football. I don't care what anybody says; those are the 4 best. And now we are losing watching one of the 4 best quarterbacks in football play. And while I was a little sarcastic with my apology, there's one person or outlet to blame, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals because they've never upgraded the offensive line for Joe Burrow. And you know, I've sat and I've thought about this, Mark, for a little bit, and I've heard it and I thought about it, and it's right. Joe Burrow is this generation's Andrew Luck.
A tough comparison, but a right one. And then when I'm saying a tough, I meant to say a rough comparison. You know, Andrew Luck, I happen to enjoy watching play when he was actually good. Um, Joe Burrow is just unlucky. He
He's
really
been
is.
sacked more times than Andrew Luck was in his career.
Well, that doesn't. I mean, Burrow is one of the more, like Mike said, you lump him into the top 4 QBs. I do agree with him on 3 of the 4 he picked, but that's okay. We're not going to get into that now. Um, the loss of Burrow. I mean, I hate to say it like this, and please don't take me as a jerk by saying it like this. But the loss of Burrow really fired up that Bengals team,
Yep.
and they prevailed. I mean, Jamar Chase finished with almost 150 yards. That's what you do when your captain, your star player goes down. You respond with bull crap. We're not losing this game while we just lost Joe. We're doing this for Joe. Like doing it for the Gipper. I hate, as I said, please don't think of me as a jerk by using that as a way of motivation, but it's kind of true whether you're in football or any major sport. A player on your team goes down to injury while going against the other team. It's going to put some fire in your belly. And we saw that with Cincinnati. So we hope Joe Burrow comes back by the end of the season. That's when I think it would be about week 18. They said he would be able to come back. That'd be pretty much the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, they said this 3 months. So if the Bengals are in it and they can get Joe Burrow back, man, that would be a difference maker. But if they're out of it, obviously they'll hold him out for
Right.
other reasons. The other major storyline coming out of week 2 is in Kansas City. And the Chiefs, well, I'm going to prematurely congratulate the Chiefs on their first win this week because they're playing the Giants. Why that's the Sunday night game, no one will ever know. But the Chiefs are 0-2. And there is there used to be one thing that the Chiefs had that no one else did. That was Travis Kelce. And the reason they lost the game on Sunday to the Philadelphia Eagles, Mark and Bill Murphy's favorite team, was the ball went through Travis Kelce's hands in the end zone, resulting in an interception.
Should have been caught.
And Philly, and we'll get into the Philly side in a minute because there is a beef I have with the NFL on something. But Mark, how concerned are you with the 0-2 Chiefs?
I was concerned with them last year, even though the fact that they made it to the Super Bowl, there were some things that, if you paid attention and noticed, started developing at the end of last season and have carried on to this year. One is the drop in play by Travis Kelce. He at one time was the top tight end in football. He was one of the most feared receivers down the field, and he could block well in the backfield. He has been swifted away from all of that. Now he has become as useful as Dawson Knox, an inside the 20s guy who might be able to help you block. He's no longer a deep threat. He can't run. His knees are shot. He's married to, well, he's engaged to Swifty. It's time for Kelce to wrap it up, and I think he is after this year anyway. But that's your big problem. They've relied on him so long that they never replaced Tyreek Hill. They've tried with different pieces, but they never replaced Tyreek Hill. They thought Xavier Worthy was going to be that star. Travis Kelce didn't like that idea, so he knocked him out.
Well, yeah, no Worthy, no Rashee Rice. They're relying on Tyquan Thornton and Juju to make plays. Look, I don't like pointing fingers. Travis Kelce's 35, 36 years old. In football layman's, he's at the end. He's closer to the end than the beginning. Hell, he contemplated retirement this past off season.
Correct.
I think the thing for me with Kansas City, and I'm not as concerned as other people are, because think of the two teams they lost to. They didn't even play well against the Chargers, and they barely lost. And they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, which also have did the Super Bowl. They need a guy on the outside before we decide Xavier Worthy's when he's coming back. Rashee Rice isn't due back for another 3 weeks after this
I was
week.
about to say 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's six. It was 6 games, which, by the way, that was a terrible job by the NFL. Not suspending him, but when they announced it was going to be 6 games, because they do it on the eve of the season. They didn't do it during
Right.
training camp or the offseason where the Chiefs could replace him. They did it on
Mm-hmm.
the eve, and I don't like that. But the Chief defense, look, the Chief defense played fairly well. They limited Philly as well as they could. Just one mistake, and we all know in football, that's all it takes. Philly side of things, there's one play or a couple of plays, Mark, that bothered me, and it is everyone's favorite play. It's the tush push.
Mm.
But here's why it bothered me. I don't give a damn about the play itself. What I give a damn about is the fact that the NFL officials are sitting there watching a blatant false start on back to back plays, still giving the Eagles that advantage. That's what bothers me because we call everything else.
Right.
We're not going to call this false start when the Eagles jump. But listen, the Eagles are 2-0. They are still the defending champions. They are still Bill Murphy's favorite football team. He's got a poster of Jalen Hurts in his room.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the Chiefs are 0-2. The Eagles are 2-0. All right. You want to get into your Cowboys on Sunday?
So looking at the biggest disappointment in defenses in one game was unreal. The Dallas Cowboys secondary sucked, even with Trayvon Diggs playing at top rank. The New York Giants secondary sucked. Their whole defense sucked. This was a game that started off with so many problems and then picked up to the point it was like, we're just going to throw the ball in the air. Russell Wilson did a hell of a job for throwing for over 450 yards and including three touchdowns, two of them to Malik Neighbors. Um, you look, God, I'm going to bust on this number 44 on the Giants. I forget the name. It's the running back. It's the rookie running
Cam
back.
Scataba.
Yeah, that's him. Thank you. Sorry. Scatabo had a nice touchdown run and plus a couple of nice runs up the center. As for the Dallas offense, things started very slow, but then it started to pick up towards the third quarter with CD Lamb coming in with 10 catches for over 100 yards. Javante Williams had a great 28-yard TD run as he broke through the Giants defensive line. And then, of course, trading touchdowns within the last minute, making this game more and more exciting. Dallas, within 25 seconds, ties it up with a Brandon Aubrey 64-yard field goal that would have been good from 68. And then neither team could score right away in the overtime, but Dak Prescott doing Dak Prescott things, rushed 15 yards up the middle and put Brandon Aubrey in a very nice chip shot, in which he did to win the game, and Dallas came out ahead 37-34. The game was a great game. As I said in the beginning of the season to Mike, the Dallas offense can score. We know that. It's the Dallas defense that has to shut teams down. And if you can't shut down a team like the Giants, I'm afraid for the Grizzlies, who are coming in soon this week.
I'm going to take the other side. I'll take the Giants. I think if you're a Giant fan today, actually on Monday, I think you have a little bit of mixed emotions. One, let me be brutally honest, the Giants should have won the football game. They choked that one away. But two, you had to have liked what you saw out of Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to what you saw in week one, which was nothing. You saw nothing out of Russell Wilson. You got Malik Neighbors involved. Cam Scatabo is a dude. They got the tight ends involved. Wandale Robinson looks like a real piece. And Russell Wilson played like an efficient NFL quarterback.
For the first time in 4 years.
Just about. And those are very big positives because now, and I think this is for Brian Dable, the noise of putting in Jackson Dart slows down. And they don't have to rush the kid into anything. So that's important for the Giants. The bad side is you're 0-2. Your scheduled gauntlet's going to continue over the next couple of weeks where you're playing the Chiefs, you play the Chargers, you got Philly at some point in a couple of weeks, you got the New Orleans Saints. Although the way they're playing, you could get away with that one. Although I think it's
Right.
in New Orleans. Anyway, the Giants getting this, even though they lost, there's a lot of positives to draw up. They got to Dak Prescott defensively a little bit. They were able to score offensively. They're going to get Andrew Thomas back at some point. And I don't know the dude's first name, but this Hudson guy who gets called for like 5 penalties, like I don't know
I
what
mean,
this dude's doing, but
I
man,
mean, the offside penalty. I mean, the false start penalties. That was one thing. But the karate chop to the back of the head, I did not know that was a legal play either. I don't even think the refs knew what to call it at first because they all got in a huddle. Well, what is it? Well, it could be illegal hands to the face, but it wasn't the face, it was the back of the head. So,
he
no,
he
you
definitely
cannot
saw the Karate
slap.
Kid.
Yeah, you cannot slap down another player. That is the definite answer on that.
Yeah. So as mentioned, the 0-2 Giants will host the Chiefs Sunday night. The Cowboys go to Chicago,
4 o'clock game this Sunday.
and they're going to play a Bears team that got, let's just say it, whooped in
As they
Detroit.
say, trounce.
Yeah, the Lions put up a 50 burger on the Bears.
I think the Lions heard us last week as Mike and I showed our disappointment towards Detroit. And I think Jared Goff was sitting in the chair and said, dude, guys, the SIN network is putting us down. We're bad. We need to go out and score. And boom, Jared Goff with 5 touchdown passes on the day, 2 to Jameson Williams. What a game by Jared Goff. On the other side of the ball, DeAndre Swift had a touchdown and a fumble. Caleb Williams threw a lot of balls out of bounds. This was the most unorganized I've seen Chicago in the last year.
Chicago's looked unorganized. They scored a touchdown, I think it was their first drive of the year. And ever since, they've been up and down. Caleb 19 of 30, 207, 2 touchdowns, a pick, sacked 4 times. I know it's early, and I know the Bears are now 0-2 and 0-2 in the division, which is
Which is
really bad. But Ben Johnson was brought in to fix the issues with Caleb Williams. They still exist. Through two, and I think this goes to something else. You could do whatever you want in training camp and preseason, training camp and mini camp, but you're not going up against a real defense because you're not getting hit.
right.
You have to play a little bit in the preseason, and I think Caleb Williams only played a few series in the preseason, not enough in my opinion. But they got Roma Dunzier involved. He had almost a buck 30 and 2 touches.
And
I still
yeah,
think
another great game.
the key for a Bears offense are the tight ends, Komet, Colston, Loveland. You got to get them involved because look at the other side of the ball. When Detroit's really good, how good is Sam Laporta?
Right.
But you're right, Jared Goff, man, he put on a show.
Mm.
He had the same amount of touchdowns as he did in completions.
Got Goff heard every Lions fan and answered. Said, nope, we're still belonging where we belong.
And what was the other thing we talked about on Sunday? You got to get the run game going. Well, Jameer Gibbs, 94 yards. Montgomery, 57 yards. The Lions averaged
153
six
yards
yards
between
a
the two of them.
carry.
Yep. 153 yards between the two of them. Pretty impressive
177 total rushing yards.
on the day for everything, everybody. That includes
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to look at it that this team, this complete team, just needed to get hot wired a little bit. Watch out for the Lions. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah. They're back. They're back. All right. Another impressive win. Shout out the Seattle Seahawks going into Pittsburgh, beating the Steelers 31-17. And the Steelers made one of the most boneheaded plays I think I've ever seen on that punt.
Oh, I just kickoff. Well, on punt. It was a kickoff.
Kickoff. I mean, Jesus. I thought Mike Tomlin was fundamentally sound.
This was one of the NFL bloopers that'll go down for a long time. It was kicked off down to about the 10, and it skipped under the hands of the return specialist for Pittsburgh. And instead of going and physically downing it in the end zone and whatnot, he said, I'll let it go. No problem. Well, that's a live ball on a kickoff. So he let it go, and then 30 Seahawks ran into the end zone and got it as the ball literally died in the back of the end zone and then resulted in a touchdown for the Seahawks special teams. This cannot
No, no,
happen
the
at the
Steelers
pro
touchdown.
level. This cannot happen in the pro level. This is unexcusable.
And the other thing for me about the Steelers was, okay, maybe there was going to be some growing pains with Rodgers and we didn't know. The Steeler defense through 2 weeks got shredded by Justin Fields and Sam Darnold. Two guys on the Jets quarterback Mount Rushmore.
Mhm.
It's just, where are you, TJ Watt? You wanted a new contract. Cam Hayward, where are you? You wanted a new contract. Jalen Ramsey, I'm not even going to get on you because you made the hit on Garrett Wilson to win the game in week 1. But man, this Steeler defense is not what the Steeler defense used to be at this point in the season. Do they have time to turn around? 100%. We'll see what happens there. But now with no Joe Burrow, there's no excuses for the Pittsburgh Steelers because now they've fallen into that second best team in the AFC North, mainly because of the Joe Burrow injury. All right. We've got maybe time for one more. You know what? I want to give credit to Baker Mayfield.
Tampa Bay game. Good game.
That was a great game. By the way, CJ Stroud, next time you have to hit a guy when he's open in the end zone. That was just brutal, but the Bucks 2-0 and Baker was awesome again.
Yep. 25 and 38, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Stroud wasn't too much worse. He was 13 to 24 and 1 touchdown. I mean, both quarterbacks played very well, except for that faux pas at the end.
Yeah, I mean, and that play was the kind of the game for Houston.
I think one of the biggest problems, if not the key problem, is the fact that Houston is no running game right now. I mean, yeah, Nick Chubb definitely a decent replacement for Joe Mixon. Has not prevailed. He only had 60 yards in the first game and 48 yards in the second. At least one, this one came with a touchdown. But when you're a team like the Houston Texans with all that youth, you gotta be able to be more balanced. You can't just rely on the pass.
And I don't even look at it like that. I look at what's in front of them. That offensive line,
Well,
which
that
was
too. I mean,
putrid last year, is even worse now, which still makes me question why the hell did they trade Laramie Tunsil?
sorry.
I don't understand the plan in Houston because that's a team that should be running away with the AFC South. Instead, they are looking up at Daniel Jones and the Colts.
This is got to be the story of the year right now. We all look. Mike and I will take very good pride in this. We made fun of Daniel Jones all last year and the year before.
Yeah.
He's trying to silence us, and he's doing a damn good job of it with an Indianapolis team that was not expected to be where they are right now at 2-0. They are they were figured to be 1-1, but Daniel Jones has played above average. He has come out and shown why he should have been drafted as another one quarterback. Through the first two games, Daniel Jones, I hate to say it, has been near flawless. And he hasn't tripped either.
No, and Jonathan Taylor's been good.
A
Tyler
hell of a
Wall,
game.
Tyler Warren's been awesome through two games.
Yeah,
Look, listen, it's two games, but give the Colts credit. They took a chance on Daniel Jones. They named him the starter, and he's performed very well so far against a below average defense and a very good defense. So
exactly.
give him credit because he is making things happen for the Colts. So, all right. That'll do it for the first edition of the SN NFL recap show. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials. Facebook, The Sports Insanity Network, Twitter, Insanity Real. For the old ops guy, I'm Mike Rifkin. We'll talk to you all again Sunday for Sunday Sideline Report live on YouTube.